Yes, the target cam is here. This is the new age, the age of the target cam. All right. All right, let's see how it goes today. Oh, well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's very good then that I don't do this. If I did this at like 12 o'clock, then it would be kind of late for you. So 9 works out perfectly, or, well, we're later than 9. We're almost 10, but still, that works out pretty well. It takes a bit more work setting this up now, because we got 2 different cameras, and I gotta attach all the cables and things like that to make this thing work. It worked. It didn't feel like the best shot, that one.
That was a 9.
Did it work? Okay. For a second there, I thought the stream might have dropped out, but now it says our connection's good, so... Well, that's good.
I did spray here because the mosquitoes are bad.
Hello everybody, welcome to the live stream. We just started, and now it actually says we have an internet connection. Looks like it's still going. Struggling today. No, that's to the left. Ugh.
Everyone's home on the internet.
Yeah, yeah, looks like it's back. It's kind of flipping in and out today, I don't know why. not quite setting it up. Got a lot of set downs of the bow. All right, let's think about this. Not the best release. Yeah.
Almost a 10. I'm missing that part of the bucket.
That was better. All right. That's the first end in the books today. You know, do more scoring stuff at home and tell yourself, all right, this is the first end of scoring. Like, you may not do well for like the first several times you try to score after that, but eventually you should get used to it, or at least more used to it, and then just start shooting scores like you do in practice. I don't know, for me, I basically shoot the exact same scores at a tournament as I do in practice. Sometimes the tournament ones are a little bit better because, well, I'm here all by myself shooting most of the time. So, well, actually, yeah, like 99.9% of the time for the last 13 years. So, yeah, I don't know. It's nice to shoot with other archers on the shooting line. So for me, it's kind of feels like a bonus when I go to a tournament because I actually have people to shoot with. But for other people, it seems like just working on scoring, like scoring when you shoot. If, you know, try to get to the point where you're shooting a full tournament every day. And then if you score it, you know, pretty much every day, then you should get used to, you know, doing all the math, writing down all the numbers, and then just, I don't know, that pressure of, oh, we're scoring now. I don't know, it seems to go away. That's my best suggestion on that at this point. I shot all my arrows, so I'm going to go down and pull them, and I'll be right back. Asher, no, I have not. Oh, okay. Yes, I have shot a compound before. No, do I do it regularly? No, I do not shoot a compound regularly. Only a couple times, and all of them, I definitely feel like I was set up to fail. The one time, I was handed a compound after shooting recurve all day, and it was, here, go shoot this. So that didn't work out well. I was also really young too. I was probably like 14 years old or so, somewhere around there. And then the last time was not too long ago, a few years ago anyway. Somebody handed me their tournament compound, you know, the full 60-pound weight, and you know, with all their crazy weights on it, and was like, shoot this. And yeah, again, that didn't work out that great. The first shot was an 8 though at 50 meters, so I guess I'll take that. It was a little low because the thing weighed a ton, but yeah. I haven't had any productive experiences with a compound bow because it seems like all the compound shooters that I've ran into, or people that have compounds, like to see you struggle with their compound, even though it is a pretty easy bow to shoot, at least compared to a recurve if you want to do it effectively. I don't know. Maybe at some point, if somebody actually wants to, you know, just not throw their bow at me and just say shoot it, then I would be interested in trying it again. It's just, yeah, I don't know. Some people just really have. I feel like they're out to prove something. So I don't know. Whatever. That's their to do. That wasn't, yeah, okay. That was actually a good shot, and I was not aiming where I needed to aim because I was trying to pay attention to setting this up. Because this is what we're working on. I'm not really concerned about what goes on down there. Because if I get here working correctly, I'll shoot nothing but 9s and 10s for the most part down there. The occasional, you know, little crazy shot where I'll get like an 8. But I'll basically shoot nothing but 9s and 10s as long as what's going on right here is correct. So yeah, that's yeah, that wasn't anywhere near where I was. I wasn't even near the gold. Anyway. Does a higher poundage mean a tighter group? Possibly. Like, not necessarily, because you could struggle a lot more and make a mess of it. But when I was a kid, about I don't know, I guess I was like 18. I went from 42 what was it 42-pound limbs to like 48-pound limbs. You know, just clicked in a new set, and the first and initial group was tighter. But after that, I got too tired to shoot them, so it did widen up a lot. But I guess maybe very short-term gain if you can manage it. But it's not really like. Basically, your form is gonna having good form is going to produce you tighter groups than necessarily having the most weight on the field. Like, having a heavier bow, if you can shoot it consistently, is going to help you, with, if it's windy and things like that. But now there comes to a point where there's a trade-off. Like, right now I'm shooting like 46, 47, closer to 47 pounds. I was at 48 pounds a few months ago, but in order for me to shoot my form better, I had to drop down a little bit in weight. The arrows actually ended up tuning better, but it just lets me make a better shot without my body like losing control. Like, the idea is you're supposed to have control of the bow 100% all the time. Like, you're the master of it, and at no point should your bow be, overpowering you. So for me to be able to, shoot my form, correctly and be able to work on it, I had to make my bow a little bit lighter so that I had, total control over what it does, how it does it. And there isn't a point in time where I'm not like fully like, oh, I can make this thing do whatever I want it to do. No questions asked. And I feel like people that have too much weight can't do that. So I guess like basically what you want to do is you want to go pretty much about the heaviest weight you can while still maintaining full control over it. And it doesn't matter if it's, 30 something pounds or 40 something pounds. It could be less than that, but like if you want to shoot 70, you want to be in the 30s or the 40s. Weight-wise, poundage-wise, but yeah, as long as you can control that, then you should be able to get great results at 70. And then for 18, you can be under that. You could be in the 20s and make that work, or lower. Technically, I don't think I've ever shot 18 meters with less than like a 28-pound bow or so. But yeah, I'm sure you can shoot it all the way through the 20s. I don't see why not. sticky day out here today.
Here comes the sun. Make it stickier.
It's all right. It went fine. That one shot wasn't great. That was earlier in the set, but other than that, it was pretty good. We're working on it. That's why we're practicing, because great shots aren't going to happen from not practicing, because that's just not realistic. All right. Well, if anybody else has any other questions, leave them in the comments section in the chat here, and I will get to them. I shot all my arrows, so I'm going to go down and pull them, and I will be back. All right, I'm back. Ooh, we have a comment? Question? Ooh, would I get worse results if I used a mid-level bow? Okay, so let me lay this out in my mind. So, mid-level for me. As long as the bow came with good limb bolt adjustments, good adjustments for my limb alignment. Of course, it had to have all the attachments I needed. Other than that, yeah, I could probably shoot about the same score. With that, it might be a little bit lower, but the big part is, I find for like the higher end risers, like yes, you're paying for like the look of it, you're paying for the quality of it, but you're also paying for the quality, the level of accuracy and things they're putting into how you adjust your bow, because especially if you go below mid-level, a lot of the beginner risers aren't that adjustable, or their adjustments like work, but they're not as finite as some of the more expensive ones. But I feel like I would shoot about the same score with like a mid-priced riser. I'm guessing like $300 range or so. I don't know if you really want to put a price on it, but mid-tier riser, I would say for me, you know, from shooting, you know, these things are like $600-700. I would say like $300 or so, 250, 300, 350. That's mid level. I think I could shoot fairly close. I don't think I would be down more than, like, I don't know, 10 or 20 points. It depends too though, because, okay, so is it just the riser that's mid-level, or you're talking the entire set? Let me reread your question. Okay, yeah. So I feel like the way you're asking this, it's like all the equipment is mid-level. I think I would shoot well with it. It would. Yeah, I would. I'm still gonna stick with the. I feel like I would be like 10 to 20 points down. I don't know if it would be more than that. It would have to. It would depend on, like, you know, how well my form is. But if I'm shooting good form, and I was able to tune, you know, the less expensive bow, as well as I can tune my, you know, really expensive bow here, then yeah, then I feel like my results should be close. They may vary a little bit because that mid-level bow is going to be, you know, it may be a little bit less, like, I don't know, I guess, perfect's a tough word. Yeah, like, I guess how the bows manufactured could be a little more inconsistent, depending on the manufacturer, and a whole bunch of other things. So I'm not saying that, like, cheaper bows are bad. They're perfectly fine. They're there for a reason. They can even be a great starting point, especially for a lot of adult archers. And there's definitely nothing bad about owning one and never buying a really expensive bow. Yeah, no, I just feel like I would be slightly lower, but I would still get a pretty acceptable result. I could probably pull out 600 with it, depending on what's going on, instead of shooting, you know, 600 plus with this. But then, you know, it is a lot of me though. So there's ways that we could test that, but I would need to I need to have a cheaper bow to really test that. And the Galaxy one that I actually have to do a video on, because other things keep coming up. But like, that bow is a beginner priced, like, riser, and that's a kind of a different stage than even the midpoint, you know, mid-price bows and the higher end price bows. If that, I hope that makes sense. That is a tough question though, because you don't really see a lot of that. You know, all the top shooters have the best equipment. That's like, let's see. There was a story at one point, and I forget if it might have been 2012 Olympics. I don't think it was Rio. But anyway, they actually, it was either before or after the games, they actually gave, it might have been after the games, they actually gave one of the cyclists a bike from like the 1970s or the 60s Olympics, and they had him ride it, compared to his time. I guess it was after the Olympics. I think they compared it to his time on that same track, and he was slower with it, but it wasn't by a lot. It's just like the advancement of technology, you know, it improved his score some, but he's also getting better conditioning. Like, he was better than, I believe he was better than the riders from the 70s, but it wasn't by that much, but he was still under par from his time at the Olympics with the modern bike from the 2000s. So it would be actually interesting to see. It would be entertaining to give, like even Brady or Kim Woo-jin, hand them a bow from, like, I don't know, I guess when the first metal ones came out. I don't know exactly when that is, sorry. And then it would be entertaining to see them shoot equipment from, say, like the 60s or the 70s or even like the 80s and see how their scores differ, because they're consistent enough form-wise that they could do it, and you could actually kind of like chart that stuff and it would be fairly accurate because they don't make that many mistakes, hence why they're some of the best shooters in the world. But yeah, I don't know. See, you got me going on that one, because that's a very interesting point. It wasn't too bad. I kind of moved a little to the left, and then it went left, and went to the other side. There we go. By that. Ooh, okay. So yeah, $300. Good thing I was on the money there. I figured that was like about mid-range. What parts of the bow need to be expensive? Stabilizers to a degree, because the quality of carbon on some, depending on how much weight you run too, but you're gonna get a stiffer stabilizer rod with the more expensive. Now this is like generally speaking, because it can vary. So I don't think if you just buy the most expensive stabilizer, you're gonna get a super stiff stabilizer rod. It doesn't always work that way. But from my experience, the cheaper stabilizer rods have always been more flexible than the stiffer ones, and I like the stiffer stabilizer rods. You know, it's a personal preference thing to some degree. It seems like a lot of other shooters though like the stiff rods, because I don't know, I really don't want that stuff moving around out there, especially with the weight I shoot. So that could be part of it. Since I shoot 46, 47 pounds, it's nicer to have a really stiff stabilizer so things don't feel like they're moving so much. Other than that, the sight, a more expensive sight is nice because, again, kind of like getting back to the bow thing, you're spending more money on the sight because it's giving you more, or should be giving you more finite and more accurate adjustments to things like your windage and your elevation, so that, like, when I throw a couple clicks on here, put a couple clicks in it to move my sight up because my arrows are high, I know that, if I put in 4 clicks, I'm gonna move, this much on the target. Whereas if I had a cheaper sight, I'd have to get used to it, but it may not be as consistent. Like, maybe because parts are plastic and parts are metal or whatever, and how they're designed, maybe sometimes it's 6 clicks to move half a ring, and other times it's 4 clicks to move half a ring. So you'll lose a little bit of, you'll lose a few points in the inconsistency. What I'm saying is basically more expensive equipment is more expensive because it's supposed to be made better. Everything's supposed to be more accurate on it. It's supposed to be more precision. That's why these companies get so much flack when they don't put out quality products, especially when they're expensive, because it's unacceptable. Because when you're spending that much money, you're supposed to have that peace of mind that, okay, this equipment is perfect in a way. Nothing's perfect, but in your mind it's supposed to be like, okay, this is the best I can get. This is the finest, most accurate equipment. Now I can shoot without having to worry about the bow, because now it's just me that's having an issue if the arrows aren't going where I want them. Whereas with the cheaper stuff, you could run into some more bow problems. Not saying, definitely still buy mid-level and beginner equipment if you're new. Don't go with the expensive stuff. In my opinion, it's a good starting point. It's not too bad. That's just like people that buy like X10s the first time they move out to 70. No, just don't do it. Like, unless you got a big wallet, that's cool. Like, congratulations. But if it's your first time shooting 70, don't buy X10s. Buy like ACCs or at least ACEs. They're expensive too, though. But like, don't buy X10s. Buy a cheaper arrow. Learn how to shoot 70 because you're going to miss. Please, for that matter, there's Olympians and stuff that miss. I've actually seen clips of compound shooters at World Cups that have missed their target completely missed the target, and they're compound shooters. So like, it happens, and these guys and guys and girls are professionals. So yeah, I know I'm going on like a speech rant here. Sorry. It's an important topic, though, and I just want to share my thoughts on it. Oh, not quite. Yeah. Yeah, see? You know what we're doing. No, it wasn't too bad. It could have been better. I was really getting to the limit of like expanding because I was a little short somewhere. It's probably this front shoulder. Or it could be how I drew back the bow. We're still working on those. Yeah, right. Also, don't think I don't take like when I shoot a bad shot, I'm just like, oh, there it goes. Don't think that like the way I think about it is I shouldn't stress about the poor shots. I know what I did wrong, so I shouldn't get all mad about it. Like I've watched a Korean shoot, and when they make mistakes, it's funny because the cameras don't always catch it, but they'll actually like on some of them they'll shoot like an 8. Like, everybody would like to shoot some more 8s, but Korea, like an 8, that's bad. It's a rough day, and they'll like turn to their coach, and their coach is laughing, and like will be pointing, and they'll be like, yeah, and then they'll go and shoot another 10. So like, I find that making light of like a poor shot, and not harping on, oh, I shot terribly, I feel like it's a better way to go about it because you're not hanging on to that, oh, my last shot was terrible. It was just like, okay, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Let's move on to the next one. And I do this during practice. I do it, a little more I do it more to myself, obviously, at a tournament. I go, all right. And then I go and shoot the next one. But since you guys are here and this is practice, I don't mind so much about being a little more vocal about it. But even at the tournament, I'll be like, well, yeah, great. That was a great one, Anthony. But I feel like that way I'm not hanging on these bad shots, and then I can work on, moving forward and trying to improve my shooting through the good ones. And then for the good shots, I don't dwell on the fact that it was a good shot. I was like, all right, felt good. Next shot. because I feel like if some people get really caught up on shooting, oh, look at all these good shots, and then I feel like you sabotage yourself for the shots in the future, because you're like putting that idea into your mind. So yeah, that was fun. That shot was good. Let's shoot more arrows. Nope, I moved. Shortening myself up again. Ugh. You know what? I think I'm using too much in my hand. Not the greatest. It did shoot a little bit quicker, but I'll work on it. Next end. Oh, okay. So yeah, I was using the Fivix. Was it Sacker one? And that tab was good. For me though, I ended up breaking a lot of the finger spacers. They kept cracking on me, and I don't know if it was how my fingers were on the pressure. You know, I don't know if I was like, I feel like I wasn't doing anything bad to them. So that was a little bit of a turn off, and then for the last, what are we on, like 3 months or so, I actually have a new coach, and he actually prefers the KSL tab, and since I have 2 of them, I was like, okay, that's easy to switch back over to these. So he's had me using this one, and I find it really, it's fine, it's good. I haven't had any finger spacer problems, but then again, it is a giant chunk of brass here, so it's not like I can do too much damage to it. But yeah, the Fivix one was fine. Besides those finger spacers, I must have bought I bought at least one of each color, and it seemed like the darker colors were better. So if you get the finger spacer, you want it in like black or blue. These are the rubber ones I'm talking about. I know they've come out with newer ones, and they might have even redesigned the rubber ones, but when I was using it, that's pretty much all they had, and that's what, you know, everybody was using. So that's what I was, you know, testing out, because it seemed very popular with like the Korean shooters and other international shooters. But yeah, I don't know, mine kept breaking, and I spent a good amount of money on, you know, replacements. You know, probably like $75 worth, if not more, on just spacers, because they would last like 1,000 arrows or so, maybe a little, you know, some of them more than that, and then they would start cracking. So I tried every color, but it might have changed. You know, it's been a while now since I used that one, because after the Fivix Sacker one, I switched back to the AAE tab, and then that's when I was working with Coach Kim, and then after Coach Kim, I started working with my new coach, and he had me switch to the AAE tab. The KSL tab, sorry, the KSL. Well, it is by AAE, but Yeah, the KSL tab. But I don't know. It's kind of up to you. I know the KSL tab is really popular. I know it's technically for a particular style of shooting, but it doesn't really matter. It's adjustable, so you can really make it into what you want. You know, make it into however you want the tab. But yeah, I don't know. I hope that helps. It was probably not the most helpful explanation, but yeah, I don't know. The second one it was nice, but it fell apart a lot on me. All right, so I'm gonna go down and pull those arrows, and I will be back. All right, I'm back. Yeah, okay. So I figured it was my shoulder coming up. That's the next thing I got to work on. We're slow and steady on the progress here. Oh, okay. So where my hand goes on my grip, right about. I'm probably not the best with it. Well, right about here. Because then this hand goes here. We might have to play with the adjustment. You have to unfocus it. Kind of like right about here, I'd say. Because then, yeah, that feels good. It's a little weird not doing it at a target, but hopefully you can see that. And then yeah, it usually sits right about like that. Yeah, maybe. Sometimes I probably rotate a little bit more. Hopefully that hopefully that helped. It is kind of tough. You may have to go back into when I post this. I don't know, it usually takes YouTube a little while to process these videos, but probably tomorrow it'll go up this video. Yesterday's live stream will go up today because it takes them forever to process the hour-long video. But You could probably pause it there and see a little bit better. Hopefully, I gave you a good idea. Basically, though, for me, how some coaches are different and how like they've been trained to shoot and stuff like that. But my coach from being from Korea and working in the U.S. for the U.S. national team and stuff like that, he wants to keep it. It's about the low pressure in the hand, and then all the rest of the hand over here is just it's off to the side. And if there's going to be tension, it would be in your thumb, so that when the bow goes down, you're kind of pointing, and not really tension in these fingers here. Hopefully that was a good visualization of the whole thing. Nice and up and close. Hopefully you could see it well too. You definitely don't want to be like too far in. You definitely don't want your hand like flat against it, because you'll start getting some weird rocking. And for me, it led to me like canting the bow, especially to the left, which is the bad way to cant. So like for a right-handed shooter, you never want to cant this way, because then your arrow is falling off your rest, and you're gonna get like uneven contact with your plunger. Now if your bow is canting the opposite way as a right-handed shooter, this isn't so bad, because your arrow is it's still resting on your plunger. So when you shoot, it'll still do its job correctly. It'll still have contact. Ideally you want to be perfectly straight up and down, but you can be a little bit to the right if you're a right-handed shooter, because then your arrow's not falling off. If you're left-handed, it's the opposite. You can be more to the left and not to the right. Not quite. I feel like I'm not using my back quite properly so far today. Okay. I'm a little low, I think, on that one, but that one actually shot. I felt like I had even more control over it, and I felt like it shot a lot easier than some of the other ones. This whole thing's it's a process. I spent way too many years using this hand to draw the bow back too much. So it's definitely a habit I'm working on getting rid of, and I'm trying to just focus on holding the string consistently, same tension the whole time, not letting my fingers slip, and then drawing it back with my back. Mostly my tricep, but then it engages the whole back of the shoulder and into the scapula, and the whole thing comes around to support the shot and make a really nice, clean, consistent shot. And it's been working for me really well when I do it correctly, though. I feel like it was coming off my face. Man, toasty out here. All right, better. A little bouncing around there, but it's good training though. Ohio's probably gonna be it's gonna be it's gonna be toasty. That's what it's gonna be. It should be real toasty in Ohio. Hopefully not though. Maybe we'll get a nice like mid-70s weekend. Secondly, it's 2 days of qualification and then one head-to-head elimination day, right? I think it's one.
Yeah.
It's like 3 days of shooting plus the practice day, so 4 days of shooting. Hopefully we can be like the mid-70s. Keep my fingers crossed. Oh no, I can't cross them. Finger spacers in the way. We're in trouble. No, that one was like not what I wanted to do. I think I'm also like, besides, maybe my shoulder's still probably going up, but I feel like I'm just dragging it through too much. I need to stop more. Back. No? I'm getting a little tired too. It's alright. Trying to get out of mediocre shot land here.
Much better. Depends.
Don't mind me, I was looking at something. Setting myself up short, so. Alright, we'll probably finish up with this last arrow here because it's taking a bit long in my shot and I don't want to get too sloppy. Yeah, that was rough. Okay. It's break time, Anthony. You're sweating to death over here. Whew. Okay. So, hopefully everybody enjoyed watching. The ends are all right today. I've had much better, but that's why we practice, though, and that's why I'm doing this. It's just fun to share my practice days with you guys, answer some questions, learn new things, because you guys ask like some really interesting and great questions that are quite like thought-provoking. Like it really makes me think about archery in angles and ways that I didn't think about it before. I haven't thought about in a really long time. So it's always fun, you know, sharing this time with everybody. So thank you. Hopefully you enjoyed again. And as always, happy shooting. See everybody hopefully tomorrow, as long as the weather's good and it doesn't rain, because we're not waterproof with all the electronics. And other than that, yeah, yep, just gonna keep practicing. Nationals for the US is coming up, and yep, happy shooting.